Greetings and welcome back to the Old Ways Rising Farm YouTube channel and our third simple fly that will put some meat on your table. And this one is those things, super simple and will catch a lot of fish. We're going to tie a nymph. So the first two flies I tied in the series were warm water minnow flies. This is the simplified flash minnow and the floating clouser. Okay. But now I want to tie some for stream fishing, and I love nymphing. I do more nymphing. When I'm after trout, I do more nymphing than anything else. You will catch a lot more fish under the water than on top of it. And fish are inherently opportunistic feeders. If you start reading about, start reading the trout fishing literature, you'll read all of this stuff about hatches and matching the hatch and selectivity, yada, yada, yada. That sort of thing happens a few nights out of the year, a few nights out of the month, 2 months out of the year. Okay? Now, fly fishermen have a tendency to target those events. And if you're targeting those events, yes, you need to do all of that stuff. But even on the days when those events occur, for most of the day, nymph fishing will outproduce any kind of dry fly. And it's only for like an hour before and an hour after dark when the hatch is actually coming off that you have that selectivity event. Right? So even during the spring, when that does occur, most of the time, you'll do better with a nymph. This is my nymph box with a couple of stragglers. You got one of my little flash minnows in there. And you can see these are all very simple, very buggy things. We're going to do two here. We're going to do, in this video, we're going to do the Greenie Weenie, which is this guy right here. And this is an imitation of a green rockworm, which is a type of caddisfly nymph. Very, very simple to tie. And then in the next video, we're going to do a simple dubbing nymph, which is, get him in my fingers, this guy. That's a little stonefly dubbing nymph. Okay? It won't show up in the viewfinder, hon. It's too small. They'll see it in the video. So we're going to start with the Greenie Weenie. It's the simpler of the two. And I'm going to tie both of these rather huge so that it shows up a little bit bigger. These are absurdly large for these sorts of flies. So I'm going to tie it on this hook, the same hook I used for the floating clouser. And it's really simple. We have thread and we have something green. That's it. We have thread and we have something green. Now, we want to tie the thread in the same way we did before in all the other flies. It's a standard first step. Hold the thread, hold the bobbin, wrap over itself. Okay? And now for our something green, if you look up an official pattern book, it'll say green chenille. You don't need green chenille. You just need something green. You can use green dubbing. You can use green yarn. You could just do this with green thread if you wanted. Do a thick layer of a few back and forths of green thread. You just need something green and you need to build up a little bit of a body. Okay? What I'm going to use is this wool crewel yarn. Snip off a piece. And I want to keep this body consistent in thickness. Now, if I come to the back and I tie this in right there, I'm going to have a lump. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, you notice I tied this in at the head of the fly. I'm going to take this bit of yarn and I'm going to snip it at about a 30-degree angle there. Loop it in. Now wrap evenly on back. And now the trick to getting the right shape for this grub is you want to tie well back in along the bend of the hook so it curves and gives you that grub shape. Okay? See, I came all the way back on the bend, right? Now that I made even tight wraps because I want to lash it down consistently, I'm going to tie this off at the head, and I just need to get there. So coming back up, you don't need to take as much time. Now I'm going to wrap the yarn around the hook. Okay, I'm all the way at the top. I'm just going to pull up on this, cross it with the thread. 1, 2, 3 non-overlapping wraps to secure it. Cut it off flush with the front of the hook. I wasted a little bit of yarn there, but it's just a little yarn. We'll all live. Okay. Now tie in all of those butt ends. Make a nice black head. Okay, we have a Greenie Weenie. Do your half hitches to secure the thread. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up so that the YouTube algorithm knows to show it to others. Or if you hate Greenie Weenies, you can give it a thumbs down. I don't know that a fly is really worth that much passion, but anyhow. And we're finished. Now, the really nice thing about a fly this simple, it's cheap, which is good. We want to inexpensively put some food on the table with our fishing efforts, right? But one of the nice things about this, in addition to just that, is when you don't have a ton of time invested in one of these, you just have a hook and a little yarn, and what did that take me? 2 minutes, if that. You're not going to be scared to throw it where the fish are. When you're stream fishing, right, the fish are under the rocks, under the logs, in the overhanging bank. They're on the backside of that log jam. And if you're throwing the flies into where the fish are, you're going to hang up a lot and you're going to snap off a lot of flies. But in an hour's time, you could make several dozen of these and go to your stream armed with more fishing ammo than you could possibly lose in a reasonable round of fishing. And it's cheap and fast, so you're not emotionally attached to your lure. Versus something which takes an hour or two to tie. And then you're really sad when you lose it. So I like fishing with these sort of simple, quick, cheap lures for that reason. Okay? Now, last thing I do need to do, we'll put them back in the vise. And I will use my nail polish. Put a little coat on there, and that will lock the thread wraps, so that that half hitch does not come unhitched. This is less of a worry if you're whip finishing. I've mentioned that in some previous videos. But it's still a good idea, because even a whip finish can come undone with a lot of fishing. But usually when I'm fishing with this sort of lure, I don't care too much about durability, because I'm probably going to hang them on rocks faster than fish tear them apart anyway. So, anyhow, there we have it. We have the Greenie Weenie. Super simple nymph. Effective in many different locations. Anywhere you have a lot of caddisflies around, this will be an effective lure, and will put some meat on the table. So enjoy, catch, and good dining on delicious fish. Have a wonderful day. See you next time.